You're listening to the Shalom Sports Podcast with Jack and Gerald. Here's your host, Jack Myers and Gerald Hoover.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Shalom Sports Podcast with Jack and Gerald. He's the great Jack Myers. I'm Gerald Hoover. How you doing today, Jack?
Glad to be back. We haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So, we weren't able to do it last week, so we're happy to be on here again this week to catch everybody up on what's happening in the world of sports here at Shalom Christian Academy. We have a special guest today, Jack. Who do we have?
Mr. Roseman.
Awesome. Mr. Rose. See, what a polite student. He's calling you Mr. Roseman.
He's a good kid.
Mr. Roseman's our
Someone
athletic.
taught him well.
That's right. Mr. Roseman's our athletic director here at Shalom, and we're excited that you're able to join us today, Mr. Roseman.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yep. So we're going to catch you up on what's happening here in the sports world. Like I said, one thing we wanted to highlight before we get into our spring sports here is our freshman, Olivia Kearns, here at Shalom. She's a wrestler, had a great season in our first year in girls and boys wrestling here at Shalom as we co-opted with Shippensburg High School. But she went out west and was competing in the U.S. Wrestling Under 15 World Team Trials and qualified for the U.S. World Team. So that sounds pretty exciting. Congratulations, Olivia. So we look forward to where that takes her and following her and along in her journey in the world of wrestling. And so I don't know what you want to say about that, Mr. Roseman, but it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, we're proud of her. She's doing an awesome job to be wrestling at that level. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where this all takes her.
That's right. And so I'm sure the boys here at school won't mess with her because she'll take them down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
And if not her, Big Daddy will take care of her.
Yeah, James. Hey, we all know. You don't watch, but I have daughters, and yeah, you're pretty protective when they're your daughters.
I can imagine.
Yep. So best of luck, Olivia, as she goes on from there. So now what's happening in sports here, Jack? Spring, we have middle school girls soccer. They are 3-2-1 on the season, 4-0 in the MDCC, which ranks them in first place. And they had 4 games since our last podcast, Jack. What happened in those games?
So the third, they beat Broadfording 5-0. The seventh, they beat Heritage Academy 7-0. They lost for Shippensburg 0-3 on the 8th. And then yesterday, they tied Biglerville 0-0.
Yeah, so that game against Biglerville here at home, what a beautiful afternoon here at Shalom. Spring is just a crazy time. You can have a beautiful day like Monday where it was, low 70s?
It was in the 70s.
It was beautiful.
Perfect.
Sun was shining. And then yesterday,
It's hailing, yeah.
hailing, wind, rain.
It didn't even rain at all at my house.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I know during afternoon car ride or pickup, it
Yeah.
was bringing hail down. And
And it was sunny, too.
Getting pelted out there.
Yeah.
3 minutes later, the sun
Yeah.
was shining, the skies were blue. I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening here? This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Probably some beautiful rainbows out there somewhere.
I'm sure there were, but I was just worried about protecting my noggin from all the hailstones flying down, but it was kind of crazy. But so busy time for the middle school girls, Jack. They have a couple games coming up here in the next week. Tell the audience what's going to happen in those games.
Thursday, the 17th, they play at CVCS. And then Monday, the 21st, they play versus Big Spring Middle School at home. And then Tuesday, April 22nd, they play at Covenant Life School.
Yeah, so a couple new schools on the schedule for our middle school girls this year. I guess probably Mr. Roseman can answer this. That's probably with our connection now with PIAA, we're
Yes.
able to offer, invite, and participate against other schools, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, in past years, I struggled to put the schedule together and get enough games. And with our connection with the PIAA, it's given us a name in the community, and other schools are willing to schedule with us. And it's fun getting this variety of Christian schools, public schools, and developing new relationships and competitive games.
Yeah, I would echo that. It had been great meeting and participating against these other schools and developing relationships and just the variety of, what the PIAA offers and all the other schools, and just the advantage of being in the PIAA, I think, has been a good fit here for Shalom.
Very
Yeah.
much.
I have a question. Do all, the schools, do they sometimes, the girls for middle school soccer, do they have it in the fall or the spring, or are
So
there...
in the PIAA for middle school, so we're PIAA for high school only, not middle
Yeah.
school.
But the
And
PIAA
their
schools?
spring soccer, their soccer is in the spring
Oh,
for
okay.
both boys and girls. And they
I was just
also
wondering.
offer high school boys volleyball, which is in the spring. So maybe someday as we grow a little bit and build our numbers in baseball, I would love to start a volleyball program at Shalom too for the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that. That's one of my sports that I really love, and we've had a middle school boys volleyball club the last couple of years. We weren't able to offer it this year, but I feel like there's definitely interest there for volleyball, and I think we've had these conversations where we feel like it wouldn't be that hard to add it because we already have the equipment from the girls program, so it would just be uniforms basically to get the program up and running.
Yep.
And
Is there a
The
different
gym's
size ball?
available.
I'm sorry.
And the gym is available in the spring, and
Mm-hmm.
and when we, particularly in the future, when we have multiple gyms, we can still
For
have
sure.
open gyms for other sports and
Mm-hmm.
and still have club sports going on at times, and whether it be pickleball or whatever. And yeah, it'd be a great fit. And you only need 6 on the court at a time.
That's right. You don't need huge numbers for that. But I think you had a
Yeah,
question
is there a
about.
different size ball for the men?
It's
to-
the same. It's the same ball. They
Okay.
use the same ball. The only difference is there's a men's height. So the poles are adjustable that the nets
Okay.
are on. So the boys' height is for the net is at 8 feet, and I think the girls is 7'4" or 7'6". One of those.
I don't know the actual measurements. But
Yeah.
I do know they're different heights.
Yeah, so the girls' net's a little bit lower than the boys' nets, but that would be about one of the differences. So it would be a fun thing to maybe have that someday here at Shalom. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
So that's going to wrap up the middle school sports, spring sports here at Shalom. And you're listening to the Shalom Sports Podcast with Jack and Jurl. And we have our special guest on the show today, Athletic Director Murray Rowe. And now we'll turn our attention to varsity sports, and we'll start with the varsity boys baseball team. They are 3-2 on the season. Unfortunately, 0-2 in the PIAA, which currently sits them in 11th place in District 3 power rankings. The top 6 will make the playoffs. And Jack, they've only had one game in the last 2 weeks. If I'm looking my research right, does that sound right, Mr.
I think
Roseman?
that's correct.
So that's kind of crazy, just with the weather and
Mhm.
different things. Yeah, just that one game, Jack. And what happened in that game?
They beat Heritage 10-2.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
at least had a W in that
Yeah.
game, so that's pretty cool
I
for
know
them.
it's tough to have a bunch of practices for 2 weeks in a row and then have one game.
Yeah,
So
it is kind of tough. But they're going to have a full schedule here in the
Yeah.
next week. It looks like 5 games coming up here, which includes a tournament, Jack, here in the next week. So tell the audience some details about those games coming up.
so tomorrow they play home or in Marion. Wait,
Mhm.
the Marion.
That's right.
Yeah, so not here. But
It's the home
yeah.
field, but with the construction on campus here, our home field this year, that's a good point, Jack, is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
over at Marion Athletic Association, and they've been great hosting us this year. It's a blessing.
So they play York Tech tomorrow, and then on Saturday they play at the Williamsport baseball tournament. On Monday they play at Phantom Metal, and then on Tuesday they play at Fairfield High School.
Yeah, and then that tournament on Saturday, I believe they're going to get 2 games in that day. So they'll have 5 games in the next week, which for baseball is a little bit challenging, right, Mr. Roseman, because there's a pitch count for pitchers. And
Right.
so depending on the depth of your pitching staff, that can be a little bit of a challenge for a coach trying
So
to
those
play so many games in a short
non-PIAA
period.
games, we should go deep in with our pitching staff,
Mhm.
and then the PIAA games, we need to make those a priority.
Sure.
The challenge here this year is we're allowed up to 20 games,
Mhm.
and 10 of those games must be against PIAA schools
Wow.
for us to qualify for district play.
Mhm.
And so the top 6 teams qualify for district playoffs, and right now we don't have a win, so we're not last place, believe it or not, even though
Correct.
we haven't won a PIAA game. But we just need to play PIAA games so we can begin to pick up some wins and
Mhm.
improve in the power rankings.
Yeah, and the 3 of these games on the schedule, I think all 3 games besides the tournament on Saturday are all
Yes.
PIAA schools. So that within a week now, we should really be establishing
We're going to have a
ourselves.
better understanding as to where we're going to fall in district
Correct.
play.
Yep, and so hopefully we can battle for that, to get into that top 6 to qualify for the postseason. So that'd be pretty cool.
Speaking
boys.
of baseball,
Yeah.
what's your favorite baseball team? MLB.
Interesting question, Jack.
Yeah.
I put so much energy into college football, pro football, college basketball. I just follow baseball in general. I don't really
Yeah.
have a favorite team, but if I'd have to say, I would probably be the Baltimore Orioles
Orioles, yeah.
or the New York Mets, which is very interesting
Yeah.
because there's not many Mets fans in the area,
Yeah.
but 1986 they won the World Series. I was 10 years old, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of why I kind of
Is
follow
that
the
their
Mets.
for the last time they won one?
the last time they won one. They've been in one
Yeah.
or so since then, but that was the last time they won one, and that was the Bill Buckner.
Yeah, kind of like the
Bill Buckner,
Pirates.
yeah.
Because I don't really follow them, but I mean, I like them. I've gone to a couple of games, but yeah, I don't. They're really bad.
Yeah. So, like I said, baseball's it's hard to follow baseball because it's such a long season.
Yeah.
You just kind of lose interest. And, once football starts in like late August and September, it's really tough to follow baseball. But
I know.
I do like the playoffs come October.
I mean, how many games are there? Like 150?
162.
162. So, I mean, one game, if you go to like one game, it's not like, like in NFL, there's 17. So each game's like really matters a lot. But
each game holds more value.
Yeah,
than football.
in baseball, I mean, it matters, but not as much as what football is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, I just enjoy baseball, and it's just nice that you don't have to follow a team and get frustrated when they're not doing well. So,
True.
The Tar Heels broke my heart several times. So, you just can't. You can only handle so much. So, but it's just fun to watch baseball, and I love going to games, like seeing games live. I don't know, just something about being at the ballpark and just the slow pace of the game.
Have you gone to any NFL games?
I've been to one. Actually, with Mr. Roseman, we went 12 years ago, something like that, 13 years ago. We
went early. We
Eagles
tailgated.
Were they good?
They were good. They won.
I think they played the Chiefs.
Who was the quarterback at that time? Was it Michael Vick?
It was his first game. So when Michael Vick came back, he was reinstated by the NFL, but his first 4 games he couldn't play. So this was, I think, game number 5. So he was able to play, but he wasn't the starting quarterback. So I'm not sure if he got in. I can't remember if he got in the game. He may have got in for like a couple plays or something. But was that still the Donovan McNabb? Was Donovan McNabb there?
I don't think so.
It's been so long. But
I've never been to an NFL game.
I just remember we showed up 2 hours before the game time, and it felt like we were the last people there.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was packed. I couldn't even find a parking spot.
We were well accepted.
Oh, absolutely.
We had our Philly gear on, our Eagles
if
gear,
you're Philly,
and we were all like one.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
As soon as you put on an opposing team,
you would be foolish to do that.
Yeah.
You don't mess with those Philly people.
Yeah.
They're
tough. Psycho.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough.
Yeah.
So our last sport we're going to talk about is track and field. It's our first year for track and field, Mr. Roseman. So I'm sure it's been a lot of learning for you in the athletic department as far as track and field, and kind of dipping our toe into that, and just the differences in how track and field works, and just you have all these events that you can participate, so you don't have to participate in all of them depending on your numbers. So
I believe they can participate in up to 4 events.
Okay.
I think I learned that yesterday.
Participate in 4.
So there's only 4 meets, and it's an opportunity to kind of get their feet wet and see what goes on. And the pun is intended there because they got their feet wet last night with the crazy weather at McConnellsburg. But we have 32 athletes participating.
That's amazing.
And they're doing a great job.
Yeah, and of course, led by our head coach, Nicole Diller. And, I mean, she's just phenomenal. She's such an encourager. We call her the hype girl. And if Nicole can't get you to do something, you're probably never going to do it, because she could pretty much talk you into it. I think maybe she could even talk you into track and field.
She does an exceptional job, And then to have Mr. Terry Harris out there.
Oh, yeah, he loves track.
And the other assistants, they've been phenomenal.
Yeah.
One thing we can field is you need a lot of hands involved. You need a lot of people with the stopwatch. And since there's so many different events, you need different coaches leading them and teaching them in different areas.
Correct. And the challenge is we don't have a track here, so that's one of the hurdles that we have to overcome. So they're out here practicing in the parking lot, and just
what they're able to do is so little.
Yeah, and they're still having a phenomenal season.
Is there going to be a track
someday? Hopefully.
Someday.
Yeah, we got a couple other projects.
Once you hit it big and you make your first $20 million. You come find us, and we'll make sure there's a track.
Yeah, when you get that first signing bonus.
Of course, Jack loves basketball, right? It might all go to basketball.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, Jack, since our last podcast, the track team, they've had 2 meets. What's happened in those meets?
So, for the women's 100 meters, this is yesterday.
Yeah, this was yesterday's meet at McConnellsburg. So this is just less than 24 hours ago. So up-to-date stats here.
Okay, so Sydney Moore finished 3rd place in the women's 100 meters, and the women's 1600 meters, Chloe Diller finished second, Reagan Kearns third, and Hope Vasquez fifth. The men's 1600 meters, Will Davis third, Shea Kane fourth, Logan Cordell fifth. Women's 400 meters, Chloe Diller third. Women's 800 meters, Abby Berger fifth. Women's 200 meters, Sydney Moore third. Women's 3200 meters, Reagan Kearns second, and men's 3200 meters, Logan Cordell fourth.
Yeah, and so phenomenal job there with our students participating yesterday. They actually were at McConnellsburg, but they were fin off against 4 other schools with Southern Fulton, Everett, Fannett Metal, and the host school McConnellsburg. So 5 schools in total at this meet, and so I think it just shows a lot for where our program's going by seeing these young men and women finishing. I think from what I could understand, and maybe you could correct me, Mr. Rosen, top 5 can score in the event. So, I mean, we have more participants in this, but I just put the top 5 finishers because they actually score points when they finish in the top 5. And so, I want to give a shout out to Clark Schemberger. He had a PR of 5 foot 2 inches to place him 5th place in the high jump. So, congratulations, Clark. That's pretty cool. And so, it's just nice to see, just athletes succeeding on the field, track and field, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. They have, like you said, Mr. Rosen, there's 4 meets on the schedule this year. They have one more coming up on May 1st. They're going to be at Greenwood, which that's up north, right, Mr. Roseman? I can't remember. Yeah, about
west of Harrisburg.
Northwest of Harrisburg. So so that'll be their next meet. So they'll be training for that, and see. Best of luck to them in that meet. So that wraps up the spring sports here.
Yeah, an hour 30 minutes is a long way up there.
An hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long way up to Greenwood.
It sure is.
It's a hike, but they'll be
There's
fine.
a story behind that, but
okay.
we'll share that some other time.
There
maybe.
you go. So, I also wanted to shout out to we did senior recognition last night. It's a track and field event.
Yes.
So that's we're able to participate in that, Mr. Roseman.
2
We got to
seniors there,
recognize.
Ayana Hess and Hope Vasquez.
Yeah. So that's pretty phenomenal. So of the 32 students, only 2 seniors. So it's going to be a lot of experience coming back next year.
Transportation's going to be a whole lot of fun next year.
Transportation, man. I wonder who's going to have to line that up.
Are we going to get a bus?
We've got bus. We're getting buses for the track team because there's 32 kids.
Yeah.
For the long distance ones.
Yeah.
We didn't last
so
night for
2 of our
McConnell.
events are significant traveling distance, upwards of close to an hour and a half, and to transport that many kids through carpooling is quite challenging.
Yeah. Yep. So we're dipping our toe into athletic transportation. Are you pro bus for sports teams, Jack?
I'm pro bus.
Pro bus.
Pro bus.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So that's part of that contribution back to us.
Jack, do you realize that it might mean leaving earlier and getting home really, really late at night at times when you have to watch other teams play? Or maybe you don't mind that because you'll be a varsity boys. Typically, they play at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But it would mean leaving school early. You probably love that idea.
Yeah, I probably like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But students don't mind getting out early, especially for games. That's pretty cool.
Getting out is one of the best parts.
Yeah. But then you got to do make sure you check in with the teacher.
Yeah, don't tell Mr. Hoffman I said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Checking in with the teacher, making sure you get your assignments and knowing what you're supposed to do and getting that turned in on time. So we have responsible students that are really good at that. So that wraps up the spring sport here at Shalom. So some other topics we want to talk about, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted Mr. Roseman to come on today and talk about some exciting changes here happening with athletics, not this coming year, but the following year. Do you want to share with the audience what's happening there?
We're going to be joining what's currently called the York-Adams County League, and it's going to be called something different, but those schools are primarily east of us. I believe it will cut down on our transportation some, and so we'll be in a league, and they'll give us a schedule, and so we're going to be, we were talking earlier about building new relationships, so now we're going to have some new rivalries. So historically, we've had some fun rivalries with Grace Academy, CVCS, and Heritage, and now it's going to be shifting to schools like Biglerville and Fairfield and James Buchanan. So we're looking forward to that. And you think about James Buchanan; they're also joining the York-Adams County League. It will not go into effect next year, but the following year. So that will be 2026-27 school year.
Yep.
And James Buchanan's only 20 minutes. Fairfield's 35 to 40 minutes. Biglerville 40 minutes. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting opportunity for our school, and just being in the league. I'm sure that there's a lot of advantages to that, but I think one is your schedule. You're not an independent anymore, where you're responsible for getting all the games on the schedule. And being in a league now, you're automatically going to get those first so many games.
All right. Once again, like we had in the MDCC, we'll have tournaments, the conference. So, yeah, it's one extra thing that'd be fun.
Yeah. So looking forward to that change coming up, not this coming sports season, but the following sports season. And so there's, offhand, I kind of catching up, but like how many schools are already currently in or will be in once
there
this
will
league is
be
formed?
24 schools
24
total.
schools.
So there will be 3
Whoa.
divisions within the league.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the league's going to be called something different because it won't really be just the York, Adams County area.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're west of those schools. And then there will be different divisions within those 24. And it'll be different for every sport. But there's 3 divisions for most of them. So we're looking at, in our conference, in our division, it would be 8 schools that we'd be competing against. Or 7 schools. With us, it would make 8.
Would that be based on like area, like
Area,
location?
size of school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'd
all
probably
those
be in
things are
like with
considered.
Biglerville,
Yes.
Fairfield, and James Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, that'd be a
Absolutely.
nice advantage because there are some bigger schools in that
So some of those
conference.
bigger schools would be, as large as 6A schools that would
Mhm.
be playing Chambersburg, for example. So much, much larger that we really wouldn't be competing against on a regular basis. Occasionally we could,
Mhm.
but that would be a rare thing. And if
Yeah.
we would go really far in conference playoffs and have a team that's phenomenal, we could end up playing a school like that eventually.
Yeah. I think it says a lot for our school to, make the move to PIAA, but then to be in a conference not too far into our PIAA career. Within 2 years now, we're going to be in a conference. I think that speaks highly of where our athletic program is here at
Mhm.
Shalom, and that we are getting our name out there, and these schools are recognizing that we have a pretty solid program, which is really exciting.
And it's going to be much more competitive.
Yeah.
So we've had some success in the MDCC, and particularly at the middle school level, some lopsided games, and so that's going to be equalized now. And so we're probably going to lose some more games, but I think that's going to strengthen our program and help our athletes and our teams to improve.
Yeah, and that's pretty exciting. So that we're looking forward to those changes coming up here in about a year and a half, or almost, basically a year and a half. So that'll be pretty cool. And so thanks for sharing about that. That is pretty exciting news. So Jack, you have some exciting news here coming up, right? You want to tell the audience what's going on there?
So this is kind of like a story
Mhm.
that I'm gonna tell. So
There you go.
So we went to Chicago. I'm not sure. It was in the beginning of March, like March 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And so our tickets were pretty close to where the locker room came out. And I watched the Pacers. This is the Pacers Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the Pacers like pretty much every single game. And so they have a sideline reporter named Jeremiah Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know him because he's the guy that sits like this and gives a report
Yeah.
of end of the first quarter when there's a TV timeout or something like that.
Sure.
And so I came up and talked to him, shook his hand, and then we were talking about if I could come on to the stage, and I told him we were gonna go to the Wizards game. We're going to the Wizards game, and he said we'll talk. We'll maybe. Okay,
Sure.
that's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave my dad's email address, and I think he lost it or somehow.
Sure.
But then he responded, he emailed my dad right before the Wizards game, and we went to the Wizards game, and he gave us his pregame notes, and he gave us Indianapolis hats,
Uh-huh.
and so then later, after the game, he said that maybe you guys can come out for the playoffs. The schedule hasn't released out
Mm-hmm.
yet, and he said that maybe we can come do the tour bus, see not the tour bus, but where all the equipment is and all the equipment and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so
That's
I think
pretty
that's
cool.
what's gonna happen
Nice.
on Tuesday of next week.
Yeah.
And the Pacers play the Bucks.
Okay.
So it's gonna be cool because we get to see Giannis.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, which is
what a neat
awesome.
opportunity for
Yeah.
you and your family to do that, and what a great
Yeah.
guy he is, reaching
Yeah.
out to you and just helping you out
Yeah.
and giving you.
I
kind
told
of
him we had the podcast, and I did the broadcast with you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows where that'll
Yeah.
lead? That'd be pretty cool. So maybe.
Yeah, so Jack follows the Pacers quite closely.
he does.
So
Yeah.
what's your perspective on this, and with this matchup, Pacers Bucks, and who are you predicting is going to win?
Well, Damian Lillard's out with a blood clot, so
Mm.
he's not playing in the playoffs for the first little bit. So I don't think he'll even play versus the Pacers. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, and he needs to pick up his game a little bit. But
Mhm.
if he picks his game up, then they'll win. Yeah.
Yes.
He's had some games he has 15 assists and 35 points, and then the next game he has 20 points and 6 assists.
Just
So
hasn't been consistent.
yeah, he's not really
Yeah.
consistent.
And so the Pacers are the 4 seed, right?
Yeah, they're the 4 seed, so they get home court advantage.
And the
which is
Bucks are the
nice.
5th seed.
Yeah, the Bucks are the
So
5th
that's
seed.
that kind of
Yeah.
4-5 matchup that's usually
Oh,
pretty.
okay. I
even
didn't realize
teams
that.
compete.
I
Yeah.
thought the Bucks would have been the favorite.
Mhm.
No, well, they might be the favorite, but
They're not the higher seed.
they're not
Right.
the higher seed. They went 3-1 in the Pacers in the regular season, so
Mm.
and that was with Damian Lillard. So
So is Damian out the whole series, or you're not sure?
they said he's out indefinitely, so
Okay.
I'm not sure how long that'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Which
definitely
is-
makes a big difference.
yeah, I know.
I mean, one of your star players is out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, but yeah,
Yeah,
the chances of the Pacers winning the series
Mhm.
goes up
It'd
a
be
little
cool
bit.
to see Giannis and Dame
Mm-hmm.
play versus
Yeah,
the Pacers.
that would
which
be pretty
that'd
cool.
make it cooler. But if we want the Pacers to win, then we'd probably want Damian Lillard not to play. But
Sure.
thinks that he has a blood clot. Yeah.
And then, so you'll be in Indianapolis for this game.
Yeah.
Have you been in Indianapolis for the
No.
Pacers? This is your first time in Indianapolis.
Yeah, we took the train through Indiana,
Mhm.
but I've never been stepped foot in Indiana. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe you'll see Pat McAfee too. Yeah, he's
Pat
he's
McAfee, yeah.
he's an Indiana
Yeah.
guy, and so I'm
I saw
sure.
he came to one of the playoff games last year when they played the Bucks.
Mhm.
So yeah,
That dude is crazy.
yeah, I know.
He
is
is
crazy.
entertaining.
Yeah.
He is entertainment at its finest. But
Yeah.
I enjoy Pat. He brings a lot of energy to
College game day.
College game day, especially. I've really
Yeah.
enjoyed him. He has his own talk show as well, and it's always,
Mhm.
like I said, he has a lot of energy. I can't imagine what he was like as a kid.
Yeah,
So
I
his
think-
poor mom.
I think Tyrese Halliburton has been on that show a couple times.
Sure.
So yeah,
Yeah, I know Aaron Rodgers is one of his weekly
Yeah.
guests. I think he has Bill Belichick on. So
Yeah.
he's got a great connection. I feel like
he's
his-
might even had LeBron James on. a
I'm
couple
sure
times.
he's got
Yeah,
the big stars on, but I feel like for him, he's just gotten the fame so quickly. I
Yeah.
didn't really remember hearing much about him until a couple years ago. And
wasn't he? I forget what he was. West Virginia or Pitt? I forget
West
what.
Virginia.
West Virginia. And he missed. Did he miss a field goal at the end of the game? That's what my dad said. There's something he missed.
He was
he
a
missed-
punter, so I'm not sure if he was a field goal. Yeah, I know he's
Okay.
a punter.
A punter. Okay.
Yeah, but maybe in college, maybe he could
Yeah.
field goals too. I don't know. I know he was a punter, and yeah, he played for the Colts for years.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Yeah.
when Peyton Manning was there, and so they had a lot of success there. But yeah, highly entertaining. So maybe you'll get to run into him too. He's a
That would be
special
cool.
treat, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Anything else we want to add?
No, it's been a pleasure being here. Thanks
Yeah.
for inviting me.
You're welcome. Glad
Yep.
to have you on the show today, Mr. Roseman. And so, yeah.
One last thing.
Yeah, go ahead,
Were
Jack.
you guys happy how the Final Four ended, with Florida winning?
Well, since I picked them from the beginning, I was pretty happy.
Yeah.
But
Were you happy?
When your team's out of it, you just kind of go
You
with
were-
flow.
you wanted
I was
Duke-
just disappointed
no,
I
you
didn't
wanted-
win the bracket challenge here at Shalom.
Yeah.
There for a while, I was in second place. and
Yeah.
I made the hard decision to pick Duke to win it all because
Yeah.
I'm not a Duke fan.
Yeah.
So that was hard. And then the year I do pick them, then they lose like that.
Yeah. I wanted Houston to win the whole thing. I like Houston. I like the Big 12 teams when Ohio State gets out. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think if Houston would have won the championship, the money from that splits up in between the Big 12 schools. That's what I think happened. So
Yeah, I know the school gets some, but I
Yeah.
think it does go to the conference as well. So
Yeah.
that would have helped you guys out.
And
But,
I'm not even gonna. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with the transfer portal this year for Iowa State. So hopefully they don't lose a bunch of guys.
Well, North Carolina's making some noise in the transfer portal, getting some size. I think that
Yeah.
was their biggest weakness this past year was their size. They just would get
Yeah.
against these bigger teams, and they would just basically swallow them up. I mean, our guards
Yeah.
were 6'2", 6'3". It felt like they couldn't do anything because of these defenders just
Yeah.
wrapping them up.
If you have a name like North Carolina, you can basically get anybody you want.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So hopefully we'll be back up there
Yeah.
next year, challenging for the Final Four and championship. That'd be pretty cool. Get back on the map.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks for helping us out today. It was a lot of
Yep.
fun.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully our
Thank
audience
you.
enjoyed it. And appreciate you being here, Mr. And so we hope to be back on here, hopefully next week again, for the Shalom Sports Podcast with Jack and Jurl. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Shalom Sports Podcast. If you enjoyed today's content, please hit the subscribe button. That will notify you of future content.